Power Rangers Universe issue 3 is out now, but before I talk about Power Rangers Universe, I want to go on a bit of a rant. Not about the comic itself, but about the service I use to read the comics. So, ever since I started doing these comic reviews, I've been using Comixology to do my reviews. I use it to buy the issues digitally before I go to the store and buy them physically, so I get them a little bit earlier. But recently, Amazon and Comixology did this merger, where if you read Comixology on the browser, that site is no longer there, and how I have to read the comics now is through the Amazon Kindle app on the browser. And I want to say, the Kindle app on the browser is the biggest piece of shit I've had to use reading comics. There is a lot of problems with this app on the browser. There's only a 2-page spread option. Actual 2-page spreads for comic book pages are a mess. They have black bars on them, and they're impossible to read. Not only that, seeing how I can't do a single panel by panel, I have to have a single panel and then the other page beside it, is really distracting to read on its own. And I hope that by the time I record this video, Read Amazon or Kindle Amazon fixes their shit, because this isn't the best way to do my reviews, and it changes how I do my reviews as well, because now gathering screenshots with this brand new change for the app is really difficult as well. So probably for this review, and until I figure out a way to fix it, other future comic reviews might just be a single image up on the screen. I know that's going to upset a lot of people. They love a visual image as I talk about the things I talk about, but this brand new app is a mess, and I'm still trying to figure it out, and I can't find the best way around it. So hopefully you guys can still enjoy the review as I talk about the comics and stuff like that, but hopefully Amazon Kindle fixes their shit. So with that rant out of the way, let's talk about Power Rangers Universe issue 3. So, the whole premise of this issue is how Rangers fighting off Dark Spector's forces, they defeat Dark Spector's forces, they retreat, they sort of regroup and sort of assess the situation with what just happened. We kind of learn about the bad guys' motives, our heroes set out to fight Dark Spector's forces again, and they defeat him, and they jump on a big ship, ready to leave its planet as it appears. So, this issue is sort of slowly moving bit by bit, and the pacing for this issue was kind of really well done, but there was also some really interesting character moments in this issue. Once again, very dialogue heavy, but you gotta pay attention to the dialogue in this issue, because it's sort of hinting at bigger things to come later down the line. And this comic, or this series, is still shrouded in mystery, where we have no idea what exactly is going on, as we're learning the origins of the Morphin Grid, the legendary Squadron Rangers, and more stuff about Dark Spector, where that character is still a big mystery in this comic with what they're trying to do. We kind of have an idea what they're trying to do, but we don't know their motives entirely and what their end game is in this comic. So there was some interesting stuff happening in this issue, but if you enjoy cool action scenes and brand new Ranger forms, then you're definitely going to love this issue. So the issue continues where we last left off, with our Rangers fighting off Dark Spector's forces. And interesting stuff happens during this fight as we see our Rangers control their brand new abilities linked to the Morphin Grid. And one of the interesting things we see in this issue and with other characters is with Rion, where during the battle, they actually change morphing forms, or they change Ranger suits from Mighty Morphin Red to Mystic Force Red. And although it's not properly explained, they say it's something to do with the Morphin Grid, they don't really have an idea on how they change forms, because we think we get an answer, but the Morphonaut says it's just a theory, so we don't know if to take his word for granted. But either way, when you see it again at the end of the issue with the Green Ranger, it's really freaking cool as you see all these different Ranger forms shifting as they do their attack to change forms. And when you first see it for the first time with the Red Ranger, it looks really cool as well, but it looks like there's some kind of drawback for our heroes using this brand new Ranger form. They don't know how to control it just yet, but there's a small problem I've got in the dialogue with how these Ranger forms work, and that is after they retreat from the battle and they sort of hang out in this house, one of the things they talk about is when they were fighting, they somehow knew the names of their weapon. And one thing that Ori brings up, which is really interesting, is they say that they somehow knew how to fight, like they knew how to take out those monsters. And that's been a Power Rangers theory for the longest time, like people who have no fighting experience, once they put on the suits, they suddenly magically know how to fight. And I don't know if the dialogue was leading into that fan theory, or they were just sort of expanding on characters who have had no fighting experience suddenly know how to fight and defend themselves, which left me scratching my head. Like, I don't know if Nicole was sort of leaning into that fan theory, she was sort of adding her own to it. I'm not entirely sure, but that's been like a weird fan theory online that I've talked about on the channel before, where the Rangers somehow get the special knowledge of the fight and know everything about their weapons once they morph. Either just a weird coincidence, or that was sort of leaning into the fan theory that I've seen online. But it does seem like that Ori is the one with the least fighting experience out of all of them, because there is a couple of panels where they do teach Ori how to fight. And I gotta say, that page where all the Rangers are giving Ori fighting tips on what to do, and they're sort of beating up on Yellow in a playful way, is a lot of fun. And I gotta say, I love the chemistry and the interactions between all these characters. They seem like a lot of fun, and they all seem to get along, like they've been friends for a really long time. Although my first impression of these characters wasn't the best, wasn't the strongest, reading this issue, you kind of understand the friendship that these characters have with each other. Now, we also get the focus on the bad guys a little bit, and I mean a little bit because it's only one page. And although the visuals look really cool for the bad guys as base, like it's on some common, they've turned some common into like a command hub, which is really cool. We also get to see Dark Spector, and Dark Spector is not shown entirely. You see him sealed behind something, and you sort of see this giant mouth talking. And the vibes I got from seeing Dark Spector looking like that was kind of like the boss in Mega Ranger, where that was a giant eye talking. So I think the giant jaw looks really cool as well with how sharp the teeth is, but maybe they could have done a homage to Mega Ranger with like Dark Spector's evil glowing eyes talking and seeing something like that. But we have no idea what Dark Spector fully looks like in this comic, because he's meant to be some sort of red-hot glowing demon, and we don't know what he looks like entirely. But the bad guys don't get too much focus in this issue. It's sort of like, you have failed me for the last time, and stop them Rangers is like the only focus we get on the bad guys in this comic. So I kind of wish we could have learnt a little bit more about the General and what he's about and what their name is and what they're doing, but it's just your typical bad guys, stop those Rangers, don't let them get away kind of spiel that bad guys do. That seems really generic, but it is what it is. Either way, the pages look really cool on the pages we got to see they were on. So after that, we then have Ori and Alicea talking, and this couple of pages is sort of the birth of them getting the Die Ranger symbol logo for their morphing devices, which is really cool. And the whole concept of them having this brand new look on their symbols or on their morphers is Ori is trying to figure out a way to stabilize the energy of the output of their heart so they don't get shocked. And Alicea suggests saying, hey, my parents had this case that could absorb shock. It looked really cute, but I'm sure if we use it, I'm sure it'll work. And lo and behold, it does work, because on the next page, you see them using it, and you see the Die Ranger symbol logo on their chest. So no doubt about it, we're getting closer and closer to our heroes getting the Die Ranger power, which I still feel like we're going to see them near the finale of this 6-run comic, so they're sort of building up towards the Legendary Squadron Ranger powers happening, and they even tease during at the start of this issue with them calling themselves Let's Go Squadron. So I get the feeling this comic will end with our 6 Rangers calling themselves the Legendary Squadron Rangers once they unlock the Die Ranger powers. But either way, I really like this dialogue back and forth between Alicea and Ori, because it shows the friendship between these characters and the history they've had back and forth, and the faith that Alicea has in Ori that Ori can fix almost anything. So I gotta say, I love the artwork and I love the dialogue and the interactions these two characters had back and forth. It was really heartwarming and kind of a nice moment in this comic. So the next day, our heroes head into battle with their brand new Die Ranger logos, and they morph once again, but this time they have different Ranger outfits on, this time being RPM Black, SPD Green, Dino Charge Blue, Lightspeed Red, MMPR Pink, and Ninja Storm Yellow. So once again, some really cool and interesting designs with the body build of these different characters, and they jump into battle with these brand new powers. But what's really interesting is when Ori is using the Dino Charge Blue powers, what happens during the battle is they begin to change, and Ori has this hybrid form between Dino Charge Blue and In Space Blue. And I gotta say, it gives me the Blue Emissary vibe seeing those powers where half the face is different. But either way, it looks really cool with the design. So the General shows up on the big dinosaur, and they begin fighting the General and the Dark Spector grunts, which is the Spectoroids. But we see Green jumping into battle, and something interesting happens with Green as they go into battle, and that is you see this different shift of different Green Rangers when they go to attack, and what it turns into is this weird hybrid between MMPR Green, Ninja Storm Green, and Mystic Force Green. And I really like it. It's a really cool form change, and I do like it when you see him jumping into battle, you see the different form change happening, where it's sort of this rift between time as you get the fusion between all those different suits. And I gotta say, it's a really cool looking design. So the issue ends with our heroes able to fight off Dark Spector's forces, and they go into what appears to be some kind of ship or some kind of bunker, and as they go in, the Morphonaut stops, and we hear a mysterious voice saying, "You did this to them, you've doomed them all, you've doomed all of them." And the Morphonaut's talking to himself, and he's glowing with aura saying, no, what have I done? So what has he done? So who is this mysterious voice talking to him, and what exactly has he done? Because I feel like we'll get answers to that later down the line. Now, if you've been keeping up with the solicitations and the previews, you kind of have an idea what might happen later down the line with the Morphonaut in this comic, but I'm not going to spoil it here if you don't keep up with that stuff. But either way, I am curious to see what's going to happen next and where our heroes are going to go, because it seems like this is one big journey across the planet or across space for our heroes to get somewhere safe and learn about their brand new powers that they've gotten along the way. So I'm very curious to see what Nicole is going to be doing with these characters and with this comic, and whatever happens, I'm all in, because this comic does have my attention with what the heck is going on. It looks like it's sort of like a road trip comic through space with these characters as we discover the origins and the mysteries of the Morphin Grid and the Phantom Ranger throughout this run. So I do wonder how it's going to end and what the impact of the finale of this comic is going to have in the Power Rangers universe moving forward, and will it be a big impact that we kind of know about what's happening in the comics or in the TV show to this day. So we'll have to read the comic and find out what could be happening later down the line. With that said, I think I'm going to bring this review to a close for Power Rangers Universe Issue 3. If you enjoyed this review, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget to turn on notifications. Special thanks to all the members such as Swaggerful and Andrew McCoyle and the Power Bunny, who's a $30 member. If you want to get your name shouted out like these guys over here, join the Patreon and become a YouTube member for special perks and stuff like that on the channel. With that said, thanks for watching, have a wonderful day or night, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, take care, bye!